Hey guys, hello gorgeous. One of my favorite things about collecting G.I. Joes as a kid wasn't just the actual toys, which were a lot of fun, but it was the card art. Seeing the figure as he is meant to be seen. Back in the old days, the sculpts weren't as good as some of the newer sculpts, but that's where the card art came in. We could imagine what the figure was actually supposed to look like, but couldn't because of the limitations of the sculpting and the plastic at the time. And I remember really loving the card art, staring at the card art for some figures maybe just as much as staring at the figures or playing with the figures. They were always so robust and heroic looking, and when the anniversary G.I. Joe figures came out, the 25th anniversary a few years ago, I got the same old goose pimples when I saw these hanging on the shelves, because from a distance you don't see the figures, you see the card art with the big explosion background, and it really brought me back. One of the things that I didn't like about the anniversary line is that it's not the actual exact card art from the original figures. It's very, very close, and so I still get that very, very close feeling, but it's not exact for whatever reason. I don't know if they weren't allowed to reuse the same art, if they'd have to pay the original artist more money, or whatever the reason, but even though the card art on the anniversary figures is very close, it's not exact. Sometimes they're holding different weapons, like Duke is here on the anniversary figure. And if you look really close, and I'm a meticulous detail person, when I look too close I realize this is definitely not the original card art. If you want to own the original card art, that can be very costly. There are reproduction cards that you can buy online, but even those will run you quite a bit of money. And so I was very happy to learn that 3D Joe's, which produced this amazing USS Flag poster that I own, also produced these books, which contain the original G.I. Joe card art and box art from the 80s line of G.I. Joe Real American Hero. It might be possible to view the card art online, but coming from the 80s, the age before smartphones and laptops, and even every household owning a computer, there's just a certain je ne sais quoi, certain magic to actually holding something in your hands printed, something that doesn't have a battery, something tangible. So I jumped at the chance to own these collected card art and box art works offered by 3D Joe's, and I gotta say, it is so awesome to once again look through this book and see all of the original card art, unmodified, 25th anniversaried versions of the card art, and they are to scale. They are the exact same size as the original cards. And so today I'm going to take you through a virtual book reading. This is a book, right? It's more of a book than a magazine. There are little blurbs throughout, so I think it can be considered a book. But I'm going to take you through a virtual read-through of this book to give you an idea what is inside. Today we're going to be looking at Volume 1, which looks at all of the artwork from 1982 to 1983. And in future videos, I'll be taking a look at Volumes 2 and 3 as well. So even though I'm going to go through this page by page, I do encourage you to actually order yourself a copy from 3D Joe's. I really encourage you to own an actual physical, tangible copy of this book, because it just doesn't compare. It's like reading comics, an actual comic book printed out, compared to reading a digital comic book on a computer. There's just no comparison to seeing something actually on paper printed out. And if you're like me and you can't afford mint on card versions of the original G.I. Joe's, then this truly is the next best thing to actually have it be printed out on a piece of paper for you to look at and scrutinize and actually look close. I just love the fact that I can look close now, which I can't with the 25th anniversary figures, because immediately I noticed the differences. So it's really nice to be able to just look very closely and see every little detail that I remember looking at as a child, looking at the artwork and Probably a big reason why I ended up, doing quite a bit of art throughout my life. Just the appreciation of the time and the effort and the meticulousness in all of the artwork on these fantastic file cards. Definitely, toy companies do not go to this effort these days to have, custom hand-painted artwork for their individual toys. Usually, it's just one piece of art that's applied to the entire toy line. But G.I. Joe was a very special line back in the day, and let's take a look at some of that gorgeous, timeless artwork of the real American hero. There is a deluxe hardcover edition available for quite a bit more dough, but I decided to go with this more affordable AccuFoil softcover version. The foil cover really catches the light beautifully and reminds me of the foil comic covers and trading cards of the 90s. The back is also foil, and when you open the book up, it reveals a big piece of art, all featuring the original 82 Joes and their vehicles, along with Old Glory. They say you can't judge a book by its cover, but I think in this case it's a safe bet. The print quality on the cover is fantastic, and the foil looks beautiful in person. Okay, let's take a look inside. There's a foreword by the G.I. Joe brand manager from the 80s to mid-90s, Kirk Bazigian, who the figure Law of Law and Order was based on, and an intro by R. Carson Metaxas, with the card art from the 1982 diecast vehicles at the bottom. Page 3 features an overview of the original 1982 lineup of figures, and page 4 is our first full page of G.I. Joe card art, coincidentally of my first ever G.I. Joe, Breaker, one of the most action-packed pictures of a Joe not holding a weapon. Next is the Cobra Trooper, and the Cobra Officer, the Laser Rifle Trooper Flash, an Infantry Trooper, aptly codenamed Grunt, followed by Heavy Machine Gunner Rock and Roll, and Scarlet, the Mortar Soldier Short Fuse, and the Man of Mystery Snake Eyes, the Ranger Stalker, and the Bazooka Soldier Zap. The next section starts with an overview of the 82 vehicles and playsets, with a collage of artwork, and a full page dedicated to the elusive Cobra Missile Command headquarters. Then there's the Joe Flak Cannon, and the Hal Laser with Grand Slam. I like how the artist conveyed movement with a motion blur. Next is the Jump Jetpack, and the Mobile Missile System with the Joe's original field commander, Colonel Abernathy, codename Hawk, the Mobat Tank with Steeler and Ram Cycle, and the final 82 vehicle, the Vamp with Clutch. And then there's the Stars and Stripes Forever mail order poster from 1982, followed by a 2-page layout of the To the Rescue 82 mail order poster, and some thermos art as well. Like the mail order posters, this artwork isn't as crisp as the figure card art and the vehicle box art. And a couple more obscure Joe collectibles from 1982, the Communication Officer's Set, the official Collector's Display Case front sticker, Chloroform's playset, Intercom telephone set, and the G.I. Joe trash can. Then we go into the 1983 offerings, starting with an overview of the 83 figures. First up is Helicopter Assault Trooper Airborne, and everybody's favorite rapscallion, Cobra Commander, along with his weapon supplier, Destro, the Joe Medic, Doc, and Hooah! The Marine, Gung Ho. There's Major Blood, and the Joe Arctic Trooper, Snowjob, the SEAL, Torpedo, and the Mine Detector, Tripwire. Then we have an overview of the 83 vehicles with a collage, and a full page for the APC. There's the Cobra Fang helicopter, and the Hiss tank, Snake battle armor, and the Cobra Viper glider, Wild Bill and the Dragonfly, and the Falcon glider with Grunt. Then there's a 2-page layout of the G.I. Joe headquarters. And the Jump Jetpack with Silver Grand Slam version. And box art from the 3 G.I. Joe pack rats. The Polar Battle Bear with an inappropriately dressed Gung-Ho. And the Sky Striker with Ace. The Whirlwind Machine Gun. And the Wolverine with CoverGirl. Then there's some more obscure Joe offerings, starting with the Tyco Electric Train and Battle set. And the Wood Burning Kit? What the huh? And a couple covers from some 83 Marvel Illustrated Joe books. The Trojan Gambit, Operation Decoy, Operation Disappearance, The Spy Eye, and Cobra Strike. Followed by a special thanks page. I always get a USS Flag-sized blast of nostalgia whenever I look through this beautiful book. These are high-quality scans printed on very high-quality paper. It's well laid out, and I like the extras thrown in from the lesser-known Joe offerings too. If G.I. Joe was more than just little plastic figures for you, and the card art played just as big a role in shaping the character for you as the figure and bio did, then this is the ultimate collection of G.I. Joe artwork for you. It's obvious how much caring went into this set by a passionate G.I. Joe fan. So as a passionate Joe fan myself, I want to thank 3D Joes for putting my beautiful Joe memories to paper. To order yours, visit 3djoes.com. Stay tuned to this channel in the future for virtual read-throughs of volumes 2 and 3 as well. Share a Joe art memory below, share if you like the video, and to join the battalion, hit subscribe, you rapscallion. Yo, Joe!